Well, I'll just say hi habang wala
Yes.
pa.
Welcome everyone to episode 79 of the Geeky Juans podcast, a podcast where we cover anything geeky under the sun, from wrestling to movies, video games. The Geeky Juans is here to talk all about it. I'm Steven, and next to me is Jude. Today's show is all about indie comics. With recent shows like Trece coming to Netflix, we want to talk about other indie comics as well. So today's guest is Toto Madayag of Libreng Komiks. Sir Toto, kumusta na kayo?
Hello. Kamusta?
Good evening.
Hello.
Ganda. Geeky Juans late night. Not late night, but like prime time. Prime time Geeky
Prime
Juans.
time.
Oh, sorry for choosing a late time slot.
Okay lang.
It's
Prime
all
time mas
good.
maayos.
Okay naman. Minsan lang kami mag late episode, so like ang fun rin, like every now and then.
That's true. So for a quick short profile from his Google Drive, Toto Madayag has been making silly comic strips on his Facebook page, Libreng Komiks, for the past 6 years now. Holy shit. And has since self-published 4 books, built a creator-friendly publishing outfit, and amassed a huge rabid fan following on social media who won't do anything he tells them to. All right. So
Yeah, that's
short, I guess, short story. Actually, nakalimutan ko na kung saan tayo nag-first meet. Was it Asia Pop?
I can't remember. You've always been there sa lahat ng mga so mahirap matandaan. Sa lahat ng conventions.
Grabe, no? Parang, feeling ko kasi, nag-start ako mag-attend ng mga convention, mga Asia Pop 2017. Tapos I think from there, medyo na lang ako. Like, ever since, I started attending conventions. Tapos, medyo, ever since, we've been seeing each other's mga conventions until the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Tapos, pinaka-memorable para sa akin yung comic na nagdala ka ng sour candy from Japan. So,
Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. Surprisingly, meron pa akong stock ng candy na yun kasi sobrang asim niya. Hindi ko kaya. As in, siguro mga 3 years, na yung candy na yun.
Oh, yeah.
But it's candy. It's filled with sugar. It's gonna last a long time. Ayun, Jude, like, when was the first time you discovered Libreng Komiks?
Okay, trying to remember. Probably this comic on my background. Parang I think nung if I recall correctly, nung nagtatrabaho ako, like me and my friends kasi like kapag sa work naghahanap lang kami ng like photos, memes, comic strips on Facebook, and then share gang kami. So I think Libreng Comics was one of those. Tapos like super super entertained lang kami. And then sakto nga, like kanina, ito yung na-repost. So tawang-tawa ako. Kasi like, this is so suitable. I remember so many people talking about this during a work day. So yun, I think that was my first, yun yung first encounter ko.
Nice. Now, before we begin with the... sorry, may yung magsasabi ba? Or somebody gonna say something?
Super nice. Kasi that's usually how people interact with me sa mga comic conventions. Bigla na may sisigaw na, uy, nakita ko na itong comics na to. Nakakatuwa. Nakakamiss
Oh, God. Nakakamiss talaga mga convention. My goodness. Now,
Okay.
before we begin with the main interview, I wanted to mention a quick giveaway that we're the Comixology gift card giveaway. We are giving away 2 Comixology gift cards, not sponsored by Amazon. There are 2 ways to win. Way number 1, like our Facebook page and name 1 comic book artist on our pin post. And then way number 2, you can follow us on Twitch and you'll be automatically entered into the raffle. Now, let's go on to the first question with Toto Madayag. Number 1, paano nagsimula ang Libreng Komiks? So, Sir Toto, the floor is yours.
Yeah, 6 years ago, around 2015, actually sinimulan ko yung page. But before that, I remember na gumawa pa ako ng comics about call center life. Ang pangalan niya, Call Center Comics. Tapos, 2007 pa yan naalala ko. Nung bagong salta lang kami dito sa Maynila ng wife ko. Sa training room sa call center, gumagawa ako ng mga comics sa Microsoft Paint pa yun.
Wow.
So, mga mundane na things lang about call center life. Yung mga nakakatawang stuff tungkol doon. Pero, after noon, 2013 ko na nung nirelease yung comic strip compilation ng call center comics na yun. I think the year before that, kasi 2012, yun yung around the second time I attended a Comic-Con sa Bayanihan. Siguro na-inspire ako sobra nung nakita ko sila Sir Paul Medina, Pugad Baboy, sila Manix probably. Sobrang na-inspire ako na sumali nun sa mga comic conventions, saka mag-release ng sarili kong compilation ng yung call center comics nga. It was yung digitally printed, stapled, almost DIY looking na comics. After that, after 2013, around shortly around 2014 to 2015 din, nagkasakit ako. Tapos saka ako umalis sa call center. Saka ako nagsimulang gumawa ng mga black and white comic strips na versions ng Libreng Komiks ngayon. Pinapakita ko lang siya sa mga kaibigan ko at the start. Tapos nung nakita kong medyo natutuwa sila sa medyo weird na humor na yun, nag-decide ako mag-put up ng comics page, web comics page, yung pangalan niya Libreng Komiks. Ayun, very unexciting, pero mahirap na kasing maalala yung feeling nung nagsisimula ka pa lang, nung ano ba yun, ang kulit-kulit ko sa mga groups dati, sa mga comic groups dati, sa pagpo-post ng mga comics ko, para i-promote siya. Yeah, and then siguro mga 1 or 2 viral comic strips later, ayan, dito na tayo sa current parang version ng Libreng Komiks. Yeah, nice. That's how I started. 2015 sa Libreng Komiks, 2007 sa Call Center Comics. And then I'm still trying to maintain the page right now.
Nice. Tapos, yung isa, yun, si Jude naman magtatanong ng second question.
Ayun, yeah. So, yun nga, nung nagsa-start ka, like, you mentioned na nasa, yung first thing was MS Paint, and, very simple na lang. Yun, the question is, what were your early struggles as an indie comic artist? Yeah.
Okay, early struggles. Siguro para sa akin, ano ba? Naging madali kasi sa akin na for some reason, pero malamang dahil sa weirdness ng humor ng mga comic strips ko. Naging madali sa akin na mag-build ng audience. Kasi sila yung mga, gumagawa rin naman ako ng mga relatable na comics, mga slice of life, mga everyday na nangyayari sa atin. kumbaga. So hindi mahirap, hindi mahirap sa akin na maghanap ng audience for that. Kasi kahit sino naman may experience yung mga problema sa traffic, yung mga problema sa work, ang mga makulit na boss na paribais ng paribais, gano'n. In terms of challenges siguro, napansin ko na mahirap siyang i-maintain kung ginagawa mo lang siya sa side hustle or something on the side, passion project, whatever you want to call it. Tapos meron ka pang day job. Yun yung pinakamahirap sa akin actually, na from weekly comics dati, naging once every 2 weeks, gano'n. Tapos merong mga dips sa creativity ko na umabot ako ng buwan bago mag-post ulit. Parang gano'n. So yun yung mga challenges mostly, mga creative block, tsaka yung energy na kaya mong i-spend within a day. Yung limit ng energy na kaya mong i-spend within a day. Siyempre, pag pagod ka na sa trabaho, mahirap din naman pilitin yung sarili mo na tapos biglang may nakita ang viral na issue, nationwide issue, or about politics, tapos gusto mong gawa ng comics, mahirap na rin mag-isip kung pagod na yung isip mo. Siguro nung 2015, nung medyo mas bata pa, kaysa ngayon. Mas mahirap na ngayon talaga. Sobra.
Nice. Tapos, I guess if we're talking about mga major issues, na-clarify ko naman po sa inyo to before we started. There was one time na nagka-thing with Zark's Burger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was the reaction of the public yung nakita nila yung comic na yun?
Okay, controversial agad tayo, Steven. First 5 minutes pa lang tayo. So you're talking about the Zark's Burger, yung pumila yung mga tao kasi 8 pesos lang yung burger.
Yes.
Pero hindi yata the management didn't think things through na parang sobrang daming tao pumunta.
Limited ata.
Hindi nila nilagyan ng limit yata. Kasi isang branch lang ba yun? Parang, I'll try to remember.
Parang sinugod na parang zombie. I think. Yung sa Mega ba yun?
Oo.
Grabe sa Mega.
I think at that time, yung comics ko was about, yung take ko on the issue was about kung paano may ano yun eh. So, pumila yung mga tao, mukhang may zombie invasion dun sa branch ng Zarks.
Yeah.
Tapos, Mark's Burger yata yung pangalan. Tapos, sa baba, rated SPG, sobrang patay gutom. I think, kung makakabalik ako in time, dun sa habang dinodrawing ko yun, tsaka habang sinusulat ko yun, sasampalin ko siguro yung sarili ko. Kung yung bantang time travel, sasampalin ko kung ginagawa mo sa buhay mo. I've learned recently din na, alam mo yun, I guess ang illusion kasi sa mga social media influencers, may mga taong may maraming following sa social media, mga taong sikat, kumbaga, is kung ano sila like 5 years ago, kung anong klaseng tao sila 5 years ago, sila pa rin dapat yung tao na yung taong yun, yung version ng taong yun ngayon. Kasi yung comics na yun, medyo pinagsisihan ko siya. Kasi I've learned recently na may mga nakapag-comment doon dati na marami naman sa mga taong to siguro na hindi patay gutom. Yung talagang, alam mo yun, 8 pesos for a big-ass burger. Bakit hindi mo papatusin yun kung, alam mo ko, 8 pesos lang yun naman ng bulsa mo.
Yeah.
Kaya ako sinabing sasampalin ko yung past self ko. Kasi I've learned recently na sa comics, should always punch up. Alam mo yun? Kung familiar kayo dun sa expression na yun, na yung, na, alam mo yun, kung gagawa ka ng joke about a certain situation, isipin mo yung mga bagay na medyo kailangan pa bang track down ng mga mas less fortunate na kababayan natin.
Yes.
Na alam mo yun. Although meron siguro mga yung mananamantala talaga na kaya namang bilhin at full price yung arts, pero pila pa rin doon. Pero but then again, you know, I try to be more careful with my jokes this time habang nag-release ako. Most of them self-deprecating. Parang gano'n na lang. Kaya para ako na lang yung agrabyado. Pero kasi, hindi naman dahil sa woke culture or sa sensitivity ng mga tao. Hindi nag-change din ako as a writer, as a person. Parang gano'n. May mga bagay na marirealize ka. 5 years is such a long time. Siguro 3 years, 4 years. Yeah. I would punch myself, my past self.
Tapos yung next would be Jude. I guess you could ask this question. We kind of mentioned it a bit earlier about balancing stuff.
Yun. Okay. Sige. You know, after a while, since I think parang a few years back, I remember Libreng Komiks parang blowing up sa Facebook. So, ayun, ang question natin is, when did you realize you made it as a comic artist? Parang,
wait, sorry.
You know,
I think ibang question. How did you balance between your day job
sorry.
and
Oh my
comics?
God.
It's okay.
You didn't send me notes. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
Question. How do you balance between your day job and indie comics? Since I know na, I think you mentioned yung call center comics and you've had your early struggles na, you know, long time in between publishing work. So yun. How do you find right now, or even before, yung balance between just working and then creating comics?
Sabi ko nga before, when I was still super excited to grow the comics or to make comics, na pag may naisip ang idea, kinagabihan, isusulat ko agad, i-drawing ko agad, kasi may post ko agad. Parang along the way, or over the years, para sa akin at least, mawawala rin sa yung energy na yun. Ma-diminish din yung energy na yun. So, I used to say sa mga interviews na parang pagkatapos ng magtrabaho, after 6, kumain ng dinner, maghugas ng plato, pag around 10 p.m., nakakagawa na ako ng comics. Makakaupo na ako, tapos makakagawa na ako ng comics. Pero, sa totoo lang, ngayong around 30, ilang taon na ba ako? 35 na rin ako, 36. Oh my God, 36 na. Parang pagkatapos ng lahat ng yun, lalo na kung iba rin yung pagod na mentally draining kasi pagdating sa trabaho. Parang pag nakaharap ka sa computer all day, tapos around 10 p.m., halos wala na rin akong energy. So what was the question again?
How were you able to balance between your day job and indie comics? Like, diba there were times na conventions would run from Friday to Sunday. Would you take a leave on Friday? Or wait, baka secret, wag na lang. Sorry.
No, iba yung energy ng conventions. Parang iba yung pagod mo sa conventions para sa akin. Compared to yung pagod ko sa day job ko. Yung pagod ko sa day job ko, pagtapos ng lahat, pag mag-wind down na ako, at least these days, nowadays, ng mga around 10 p.m., halos wala na akong energy. Pero pag sa conventions, kahit na umabot pa ng Sunday, 12 p.m., mag-inuman pa kami ng mga kaibigan ko after the convention.
My God, that feeling.
Monday pa kasi walang problema. Iba yung pagod. Parang pagod siya na fulfilling. na kahit na pagod ka na ng Monday, papasok ka pa rin. So yeah, yung balance for me is pumapasok sa like pwede ko siyang sa day job ko, pwede ko siyang insert with yung mga breaks ko. Pag meron lang akong super excited na gustong ilabas na comics agad about probably about a certain viral issue na magiging makakalimutan na within a few days. Yun kasi isa sa mga challenges sa paggawa ng relatable comics kapag hindi ka mabilis, katulad ni Tarantadong Talbo.
Yeah, grabe.
Yeah. Sobrang bilis nun.
Like how does she do it?
Yeah, nabanggit ko nga sa kanya na hindi na lang ako magko-comics kasi naisip mo na lahat eh.
Parang go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, sige.
Parang it's kind of weird how he by being socially relevant, like he's become actually more recognized because of the pandemic, I guess.
Yeah.
Parang ganun, in a way.
Maybe
I think especially since lahat tayo indoors, yun, we're more often on social media. So yun, I think the exposure comes from there rin. Tapos yun, especially with yung current situation natin. So yun, their social awareness talaga was like at its peak at some point, especially hanggang ngayon. Like
probably,
people are becoming more aware. So I think yun, that's the reason na lumaki rin yung like, more people are seeing it right now and more people know it. So, yun.
Yeah. Totoo yan. Saka I guess collective galit na rin summed up into one comic strip. Malaking bagay yun.
True.
Lalo, probably a lot of people don't know how to express their anger.
Yeah.
Kasi parang ang lakas pang-cancel hindi naman pang-cancel, pang-amplify ng anger ng humor. Pang-klase amplify or cancel ng anger ng humor. So I guess, kaya rin yung mga comics ko about na pandemic related. Marami rin nag-share.
Yeah.
I guess it's because of that. Yeah.
Nice. Now, one of the biggest things that an indie comics creator has to usually go through is publishing. Tapos, yun yung isang biggest challenge kasi nga, 'di ba, may mga ibang comics na napapublish na ng mga publishing company like Print before, 'di ba? Ngayon nasa I think Adarna Comics sila ngayon or Adarna Publishing. Ibang company. Yun. So, the creators have the option, as in the option to let someone else publish your comics, kind of like what sina Hong Hang Flashbacks do with Summit, or in your case, nag-self-publish kayo. So, in your opinion, would you rather self-publish or let someone else publish for you? If you had like no limit on resources and whatnot.
Para sa akin, kasi I would, depende kasi yun sa tao talaga eh. Pero I can only speak based on my own experience na para bigyan kayo ng context, yung Butchedi Comics Volume 1, dapat ipapublish yun ng one of our bigger publishers. Hindi na mag-name drop, pero dapat may papublish yun ng one of the bigger publishers sa Pinas. Isa sa mga naging problema noon ay hindi pa ako kompleto ng content. Tapos, hindi pa ako kompleto ng content. Tapos medyo nahihirapan akong mag-submit sa kanila ng comics to put out a book na may enough pages para matawag na book. So, syempre, pag 50 pages lang, medyo manipis siya. So, yun ay around 2015, 2016. Tapos, after nun, we actually agreed to part ways. Naman, yung, wala namang galit. Wala namang galit about that. I guess it's partly my fault kasi medyo mabagal ako and they want to put the book out na. And then, I jumped to a different publisher after that. And then to another one. Pero yung una lang talaga yung nagka-contract na ako. Na we had to part ways, terminate the contract. Pero after that nga, nang-usap ulit ako ng ibang publisher. One of the bigger publishers din sa Philippines. Tapos, isa pa, napausap ko. And then, while talking to both of them, na-realize ko na medyo nababagalan pala ako. Medyo parang, ano ba to? Mahina kasi talaga ako pag collab eh. Mahina ako when working with other people. Alam ko yung weakness ko na yun. Parang, ang nangyari, nung time na yun, na-realize ko na maybe I should do it on my own. Maybe there's no other person. The best person to take care of this is myself. Yung mag-publish ng book. But, at the same time, para maging maganda yung book, hindi dapat siya digitally printed. Sabi ko, hindi dapat siya stapled, hindi dapat siya black and white. So, nung nag-decide ako mag-self-publish, it was kind of a big decision. Wala pa yung daughter ko noon. Kaya medyo mas marami pang free time tsaka resources, I guess. Pero at the same time, hindi naman ako mayaman. So, ang ginawa ko noon, if you remember, I don't know, Steven, if you bought my first book via pre-order, yung very first one. Pero
I think,
that's what I did. Yung nagpa-crowdfund ako ng pre-orders, mga around 2016 yun. With the hopes na yung audience ko noon na around less than 100,000 pa yata na followers, ay majority nila order ng book para ma-fund ko yung printing, which is offset printing, which is, para bigyan kayo ng context, yung offset printing, malayong mas mahal siya sa digital printing. But actually, mahal yung offset printing pag konti lang yung quantity mo, like 500 books to 1,000. Malayong mas mahal siya than if you have 3,000 books printed. So that's what I did.
Okay.
3,000 books. Sabi ko, I'll pre-order, I'll have 1,000 copies pre-ordered para ma-cover yung printing costs nung 3,000. So that's basically what we did. And thankfully, kaya sobrang thankful ako dun sa mga naunang nag-pre-order nun na hanggang ngayon naalala ko pa yung mga names nila.
Nice.
And what I usually do is kapag sinasabi nila, I pre-ordered your first book, automatically sticker ka sa akin. It's the little things, you know. Yeah, so that's what I did. Doon na nagsimula yung self-publishing journey ko na kaya pala, although I had the privilege of having a big audience, a big following at that time, hindi mo rin naman may kakailan na may part doon na magaling ako mag-market. I guess, i-claim ko na magaling ako mag-market, magaling ako I guess magbenta ng books or magbenta ng, lalo pa magbenta ng weird books. And it's not a price na it's not cheap. Parang ganun. But then again, yeah, when I realized I can make it work, that's when my self-publishing journey started. So after noon, 2017, nag-release ulit ako ng dalawang books pa ng 2017 and then 2018. And then that's when we started Silaw Publishing, which we got Sean Sonsona to publish his first book.
Nice.
Yung ibang creators naman, kumbaga. So that, ang problema ko lang, hindi pa nakaka-release ng bagong book since 2018. So, kami na nagtatanong. Pero, that's my self-publishing journey.
Yeah.
Yung tanong, would you rather self-publish or let someone else publish for you? It really depends. Kung katulad mo ako na may energy para gawin lahat yun. Kasi when I say it right now na okay, kumuha kami ng 1,000 pre-orders. Okay, nag-print kami ng books. Hindi ganun kadali yun. Like 5 seconds ko sinabi yun, pero puyat, pagod. Literally, kung may imagine nyo yung dinadrag ko yung 3,000 books papunta sa house namin na nilalagay sa isang empty na kwarto.
Oh my gosh.
That's you know, that paints a picture of how hard it is. But you know, sa tulong ng wife ko, it's been a really big help so far with managing things, managing stuff. Yeah, we made it work, but then you have to consider yung mga tao na walang time for this. Like they're there creatively. Yung andyan sila, naggumagawa sila ng comics every day, marami silang content, but they don't have the energy. They don't have the energy for this to self-publish, to take care of all the super little details na papunta sa am I going to financially recover from spending my time and money to print 3,000 books. Kung wala silang energy doon, I would suggest they pitch it to a publisher to take care of them, to take care of it for them. Yeah.
Nice. Now, speaking of the books, you can find the books on Toto Madayag's Shopee, sa Libreng Komiks. Saying hi to Paul Briggs. I'm a big fan of Master Toto Madayag.
Hello, Paul.
Yun. Tapos, speaking of Shopee, Shopee's 6677 sale is ongoing right now. If you're listening to this replay, don't miss the 77 sale. So get that item you want right now with our affiliate link, tinyurl.com/ShopeeTGJ. We earn a little bit of commission from each click, so you help keep this podcast running. So let's go to Jude's question, which he was about to ask earlier.
Ayun, okay, yeah. Yun, when did you realize you've made it as an artist? Like, I know na, like, it took a while. Of course, like, every artist, you have early struggles. Tapos there's this period na, ang dami ng, biglang dumami na yung, yung following, like, dami na tumitingin ng comics, dami na like and share on socials, and then people started buying. So, when did you realize you've made it in a sense? Yeah.
Ewan ko, I've always tweeted like, well, hindi ko siya masagot ng maayos kasi I've always treated fame or making it like pag made man ka na, I guess, na talagang wala ka nang gano'ng i-spend na energy doing the other things. Like for me, self-publish pa rin kami. We still take care of the orders sa Shopee, sa Lazada, other online stores. For me, making it would be not having to spend time and energy on those things. Na as a creative person, yung creative side lang talaga yung alam mo yun, yung asikasuhin mo. Para sa akin ganun. So I've at times, meron nung around 2017 nung nirelease ko yung Little Green Square book na yung Bawal Mamatay, May Tumawid na Rito. Guest ako ng Comic-Con noon. Maraming salamat sa Comic-Con. Meron nung time na yun na siguro yun yung isang time na pinilahan ako, left and right may pila ako para ako si Manik sa Brer.
Nice.
siguro nung mas bata pa ako ng konti na parang may illusion ako na ayun na, oh my god, ito na around, di ba 2015 ako nag-start sa Libreng Komiks Facebook page. So around 2 years in pa lang yun, tapos pinipilahan na ako. Siguro meron, foolishly naisip ko na, oh my God, ito na, pipilahan na rin ako pipilahan na rin ako parati. Marami na rin bibili ng books ko, marami na rin makakakilala sa akin na parang I made it. Parang ganun. Pero sa totoo lang, as a person who, paano ba? As a person who's only sending things, I guess, na mas famous pa yung comics ko sa akin. I don't know if you understand that. Like, when you compare it to a YouTube personality, andun yung mukha nila every time sa video. So yung person yung pina-follow nila. Ako yung comics, yung ginagawa kong comics, yung humor sa comics yung pina-follow. Hindi naman ako as a person. Siguro pag parating mukha ko yung nakikita sa page ko, marami sa silently unlike doon. Unfollow. Parang gano'n. Parang kahit nung 2017 na yung pinilahan ako na, may picture ako nun eh, hindi ko makipakita ngayon, pero yung pila kasi hindi siya yung from the back to my table. Para siyang in-extend from left to right, tapos right to left. So nag-converge yung pila sa ano ko. Hindi naman siya ganun karamihan. Siguro mga 10 tao sa right, 10 tao sa left. Pero yung image na yun nag-stay talaga sa utak ko na as a reminder na para sobrang saya. Sobrang saya nitong journey na yung self-publishing journey na that I'm in. Pero in terms of making it, I don't think I've made it. Siguro yun lang yung isang time na ganun. Kahit nung nasa Iloilo kami, kwento ko lang. Nasa Iloilo kami. Oh my God. Special guests kami nina Ivy ng Little Things sa Kanimani.
Oo. Nasa Discord ako. Nila yung Ivy.
Oh yeah. That was Conquest. That's what they call it. It's an esports event. Pero naimbitahan din kami doon to talk about our, creative stuff. Manage sa kanya ID. Kwento ko lang, magka-hotel kami ni na Kong TV at saka yung Team Payaman. Siguro mga 2019 yun. Kaya may mga times na alam ko na I haven't made it yet. Kung ano man yung definition nun. Sorry, hindi ko ma-offend yun na, pero yeah. Kaya ako nasabi nga rin, kasi may mga times na gano'n na dito kami, nagbe-breakfast kami sa hotel lobby. Tapos, may mga kids na nag-aabang sa labas. Kung nandun lang ngayon, sobrang nakakatawa siya for me. May nag-aabang sa labas habang tinatapos ni na Kong at saka ni na Junie ba yun? Junie, Kong, si Roger Racker, andun. Hindi ko na maalala kung guest pa si Eman noon. Rest in peace, Eman. Pero dumating lang yata siya ng event pero hindi siya kasama sa hotel. Si Suzy, I think, yung nag-dinosaur costume. Nandun sila sa labas. Inaantay si Napong na matapos kumain. Tapos pagkatapos silang kumain, papasok sila ng papapicture. Tapos sila habang dinadaan-daanan lang kami. Hindi naman siya story site, pero yung mga times na humble, na bring back down to earth ka, na parang I haven't made it yet. Para sa akin, just the comics is just relatable comics. Pero that doesn't mean na hindi ako appreciative sa mga nag-support, bumibili ng mga comics ko. Tsaka yung mga parating nagpa-comment, share. Yeah, sobrang na-appreciate ko lahat yan. Pero in terms of making it as an artist, I don't think I've made it. Siguro sa front door ng front door ng impyerno sa mga content ko, pero
all right, moving on. I guess I mean, you did mention nga na medyo nahihirapan kayo mag-collab, tama, before. But I think you've had, tama ba? Kasi recently, one of your strips from, I think, a year ago or 2 years ago, nakaka-promote ka na ng mga Huawei na products, mga ganun, yung mga product placements. How, like, among all those products that you've helped promote, meron ka bang, like, favorite comic strip na nagawa mo?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, nabanggit ko kanina na mahirap akong makipag-collab. Pero in terms of in terms of yung other artists, yung mga passion project with other artists, medyo nahihirapan ako. Kasi alam ko naman na weakness ko, hindi ako team player. Pero at the same time, yung mga sponsored comics, sobrang thankful akong dumarating pa rin sila. I consider those work. Like isa sa mga paborito kong ginawa yung Asus Comics nung Christmas. Meron dun yung I think I was promoting their routers kasi may routers na Asus yung when you're just to give you some context, when you're inside the same household na medyo malaki, maglalagay ka ng routers within the house yata para hindi nawawala yung signal from the main modem, I guess.
Para isi-spread out mo yung mga routers para like mag-amplify lahat, parang ganun.
Yeah. Para hindi, kasi di ba may mga dead spots sa house, may walls, may ibang interference. Isa sa mga paboritong comics doon yung nagvi-video call sila, yung tatay nakahiga sa bed. Tapos nagvi-video call sila. Tapos tinatanong niya kung anong handa nila. So nasa kabilang end yung tatay niya nasa kama. Tapos yung anak nasa kabilang line. Kasama nung nanay sa nung sister niya. Tapos nagtatanungan sila anong handa niyo, sasabihin nung anak niya, sira ka eh. Pareho naman tayo ng handa eh, gumagano siya. So may mga nag-i-imply. Kaya gusto ko siya kasi kasi sa comics, yung pinakagusto kong mga comics, hindi lang comics ko ha, pero yung mga gusto kong comics, kahit mo pa comic strips yan, o di kaya mga Marvel, DC, Vertigo comics, I guess. Yung nag-i-imply na may nangyaring ganito o ganyan, instead of saying it like directly. So ini-imply ko dun sa comics na yun na magkahiwalay sila ng location, pero at the end, yung punchline or yung ending niya, yung big reveal or twist is magkasama pala sila sa bahay. Nasa taas yung tatay, naka-confine kasi implied na may COVID siya. At the same time, hindi ko rin sinabing outright na may COVID yung tatay. Parang gano'n. Parang gusto kong i-imply na swab test mo na bukas. Gano'n. Definitely bukas 14 days mo na. Wala na siguro yan. Gano'n.
Yeah.
Parang isa sa mga paborito ko yun. Kasi isa rin yan sa mga paborito ko. Yung pinapakita nyo on screen.
Yung naglalaro. Buong araw ko naman naglalaro. Tapos naka-AirPods pa.
Yeah, that was one time.
Ang precious. Okay lang yan, nak. Ako nga, nagbalik loob sa baking. Mga survive lang yung pandemic. Magkakaiba naman tayo ng paraan na pag-adapt sa sitwasyong bagong-bago sa ating lahat.
Yeah.
Precious.
I think I remember yung... Oh man.
Oh my God.
I remember may isang comic ako, parang I think yun yung comic na parang super init ata, tapos inis na inis siya, tapos pagpasok niya ng office, ang lamig. I remember.
Yun.
Super relatable yun kasi nung binabasa ko yun, ang init, nasa labas ako, tapos biglang pagpasok ko sa office, okay, ganito pala feeling. Lamig. I'm super fresh, but yeah, that's why.
So these are my favorites.
Okay. Since we did mention conventions earlier, Jude, I you could take this next question.
Ayan, sige.
Ayan na, ito na.
Ayun, since you've been to a number of conventions na local conventions here. You've been a guest as well. You've been featured. So, since the pandemic situation has made conventions has postponed conventions for a while. What do you miss most about conventions? Yeah.
Okay. Among a lot of things. I guess I'm going to miss yung mga people na nagdadala ng other people, yung mga referral ba. Bigla ko lang naalala si Dan. I don't know if you know the guy, but sadly he passed away, I think last year, mid last year, if I'm not mistaken. Pero he's one of the biggest supporters of indie comics actually. And what he would do is makikita mo siyang nagigila ng mga tao na hindi familiar sa yung mukha nila. Tapos i-reveal na lang niya later on na nire-refer na pala yung comics mo sa kanila.
Wow.
Okay, ito si Toto, papakilala sa akin. Ito si Toto, katrabaho ko pala, Toto. Sinasabi ko sa kanya kung tungkol saan yung comics mo, ganyan. Kasi sa mga mamimiss ko, definitely going to be missing Dan kasi parang staple siya sa comic conventions. Parang siya yung tipo ng taong kapag hindi siya makakarating, tapos in-announce niya na hindi siya makakarating, parang lahat ng creators medyo mag-aalala or malulungkot, parang gano'n. Kasi parating nandun siya. Bukod doon, I guess, ano pa bang namimiss ko conventions? Dami, sobrang dami. Yung NG, yung bagong fans na yung bagong meet na fans na sinabi nila na excited excited na mamit ka in person for the first time. Sobrang saya nun na tapos may hiya ako magpa-picture, ako pa magsasabi, picture tayo. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng tao na nag-attend ng conventions can attend all of the feature conventions. So, minsan yung Asia Pop Comic Con lang yung sa kanila kasi galing silang Cebu or something. Minsan, meron pa akong namit na galing Mindanao, I think, and then nag-attend ng comic at one time. So, I try to make the first meeting as memorable as I can. Tapos yung pagod pagpa-uwi, pero sobrang satisfied ka, sobrang masaya na nakakalimutan mo yung pagod. Minsan nga pag mga conventions, pagkatapos ng conventions, hindi pa ako nakakatulog agad. Parang hindi ko alam kung bakit. Parang kapag nagtrabaho ka all day, tapos akala mo makakatulog ka agad dahil sa pagod. Pero hindi ka makatulog agad.
Parang may high.
Yes. That's it.
Parang may high. Yeah. Yun. I guess nakaka-relate rin ako as an attendee, as a frequent attendee of conventions. Parang parang yun yung first experience, parang yun yung unang naramdaman ko nung Asia Pop 2017. I think that's when I first met you sa Asia Pop 2017, I think. You were still selling yung mga Guns Abel Gas na stickers. Tapos, sobrang, kasi nung time na, di ba, medyo naging meme na yung Soko. Scene of the crime, operation. So, ganun. Tapos, parang, after going there no Saturday, after that first day of attending the convention, I guess shared feeling siya among attendees and artists and exhibitors na parang wow, you just don't want this event to end. Parang ganun. May ganun ba na feeling? Pero at the very least na parang when it's all said and done, parang wow, parang ang saya ng event na yun ah. Parang you don't get that high anymore with the pandemic, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Parang ganun. Parang sobrang it's like there's a missing hole in our hearts now, parang ganun, in a way. Medyo emotional siya, pero parang ganun. Parang nakaka-miss talaga. Especially kung parang sometimes, honestly, I don't get it with the big conventions like Asia Pop or ToyCon. Sometimes I actually get it more sa Comic-Con, Comic-Con, mga ganun. Like when si Dan Hiromo, si Spider-Dan, like when he was dancing one time, you don't get, diba? You don't get that vibe with the big convention ng mga Asia Pop or something. Parang each convention has a different feeling after you leave. Parang ganun. Diba? Yung parang pag Asia Pop, gusto mong kumain. Tapos parang pag parang Comic-Con, parang gusto mong magtambay-tambay lang, ganun. Or tawid ka sa PC supermarket or something.
Yeah, I guess I miss that kind of energy the most. Naalala ko yun, yung sumayaw bigla si Spider-Dan, tapos ang dami sumunod na sumayaw.
Oh! Tapos kumakanta yung buong convention center.
Yeah. Tapos meron, I think that was the time na na-release yung Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Kumakanta lahat ng Post Malone song.
Yeah. November Comic-Con, I think, or October ba yun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Naalala ko yun. Pero may isa rin akong ganyan sa Cebu eh. Nung Comic-Con sa Cebu Lake Fest yun eh. Tapos, nandun kami as Comic-Con attendees. Pinatugtog yung nasa loob pa kami ng mall noon, Ayala Mall. Tapos pinatugtog yung I'll make a man out of you sa Mulan.
Nice.
Tapos, imagine lahat nung siguro 100 or so yung nagta-table exhibitors singing aloud that song every word. Kasama ako. May video nun. Ayan.
Panalo. God, I miss that feeling talaga. It's such a fun feeling. Before we continue with I guess towards the end of this podcast, I wanted to mention our friends at Podmetrics. Podmetrics aggregates data from Anchor, Spotify, Chartable, Facebook Live, and YouTube in order to show you the real picture of how your show is doing. The best part is, it's absolutely free. May nagtatanong sa akin kanina, may nagtanong kanina sa I think Podcast PH ba yun na group na paano kayo mag-monetize ng podcast niyo. Podmetrics helps you monetize your podcast in the way na you can promote things like Shopee, Lazada, and so. So just sign up now at podmetrics.co. It's absolutely free. Don't forget to use the referral code GEEKYJUANS. You can see it on our screen, and we will leave it on the description. Podmetrics, the only analytics you'll ever need for your podcast. Now for the most, I guess, fun question of all. Tinanong na rin namin kay na Gio Custodio, aka Loser Mangaka. I think, Jude, you can relate to this as well. Go ahead, ask the question.
Okay, sige. Okay, since we're on the topic of conventions, I really miss them. Among the things we miss are food. And, being someone who has been to conventions, like, after nating umikot ng, buong event, you just wanna eat some lunch, tapos ikot ka ulit. So, our question right now is, anong paborito mong convention food?
Madali yan para sa akin. Kasi simula nung nag-start yung Sanders Ground and
Pound. Yes!
Oh my God.
Yes! Go.
Medyo, medyo kilala na ako nung owner yun eh. Parang ang gagawin ko, lunch ko yun. Well, lunch ko yun for 2 days kasi 2 days usually yung Comic-Con, diba?
Yeah.
Pero nung may one time nasa Asia Pop sila, 3 days yun. So, meron yatang one time na ibang flavor ng burger yung lunch ko. Tapos, merienda ko, burger ulit yung ibang flavor naman.
Buong menu nakuha mo na.
Oo, parang ganun. Parang na-try ko na lahat.
Oh, man.
Yeah, tapos yung takoyaki sa tabi niya. Yun lang.
Oh my God.
Yun yung mga madaling kainin kasi para kapag may biglang magpapapirma, may dumating, tapos sasabihin magpapapirma, may tatabi ko kaagad.
Oo. Parang hirap kasi kung kanin di ba? Kung may kanin sa tabi. Parang
Oo.
teka lang. Two hands pa to eh. Pero pag takoyaki, okay. Poke
Kaya,
lang. Tusok-tusok lang.
Obra. Saka pag kanin, mahirap talaga.
Grabe. Team Sanders, man. Sana buhay pa sila. God. Like,
Oo.
legit favorite food din yung nakapatid ko sa conventions. Yung talagang, pag sa Eton, di ba, sa Centris, nasa likod sila. I think, Asia Pop, God damn. Ang Asia Pop kasi ang dami, no? Ang daming parang sobrang daming exhibitors na ang hirap makita lahat kaagad. Parang, I think that's what I love the most about mga smaller conventions like Comic-Con, Comic-Con. I think it sucks lang na nung Feb, like convenience-wise, yes, Comic-Con in Feb. The last Comic-Con before the pandemic, Feb 2020, my goodness. Walang pagkain. Lahat na sa SM lang. Parang gusto daw ng SM kasi diba SM lang, from what I understand.
Tama.
Parang, I missed that feeling of going to Sanders sa likod.
Yeah.
Or kung ano mang pagkain na sa likod, di ba? Tapos parang, wala ka na makuha. It's just, I mean, convenient siya for people sa South. Gets ko. Pero parang, God, it's my North bias coming out. Parang, ang ganda na ng pwesto ng Eton eh. Parang, okay, fine, Eton's not the best in terms of like, okay, parking, it's not the best kasi, well, medyo outdoor, ganun. Pero at the same time, parang there's just something about having to go behind everything. Hindi parang pag sa Asia Pop kasi, di ba, everything's in one area. Walang naka-divider or whatever. Nandun lahat. Pero kung nasa bayanihan ka, pupunta ka sa maliit na kitchen sa likod na sobrang enclosed. Tapos pag sa Eton ka, nasa likod sila. Pero medyo may open air pa na section, ganun. Parang each small convention provides a different feel to when you get the food.
I guess yung time na nasa SM Mega Mall yung Feb 2020, I guess it's Comic-Con trying to parang level up din in a way. Kasi mall yun.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Tsaka Mega Trade, di ba? Yun yung mga naunang
Oh my gosh. Oh yes.
Christmas Toy Con, I think, dun pa rin sa Mega Mall.
Yeah. Yung parang may Power Ranger ba yun dati sa Christmas Toy Con?
Yeah, I think so. Tapos, yeah. Yung guest ba nila? Yeah, pero at the same time, yung trade-off nun is kailangan mo sundin si SM.
Yeah, yun lang. Parang nakaka-miss lang. Parang just conventions in general, like the food, the vibe, the cosplayers, yung parang there's just something magical about conventions for us. I guess not super introverted, not super extroverted people. I guess ambivert, if that's the term. Na parang parang gusto natin magamit yung energy natin in certain things like conventions, pero parang baka outside it's not the same. Parang there's something about conventions na talaga, I guess, na magical, na it's just hard to describe. Ano nga ba? Sorry, medyo nag-nostalgia trip tayo konti kasi nakakamiss talaga yung mga convention. I guess one additional question would be, what's the first thing you want to do when conventions come back? I guess like if we're just like on a side note.
Siyempre, bawal mag-hug, di ba?
Yeah. Oh my God. No more hugs.
Hug everybody. Sobrang layo pa dito no?
Nga eh.
Kasi kahit na, imagine mo kahit na may vaccines na, people still have a chance of getting COVID even when they're fully vaccinated. So, malamang ang mangyayari kahit mag-open sila, magiging less exhibitor tables, tsaka less guests inside, hindi na pwedeng crowded. Alam mo yun. Tapos, siguro yung mga ewan ko, magkakaroon tayo dito ng vaccination card na kailangan mong you have to show to events organizers, diba?
Oh,
Na saka ka na
yeah.
makakapasok. So first thing, siguro, oh my God, medyo naging emotional ako. Pero siguro,
It's okay. It's okay.
siguro I'll prepare something. I'll prepare something to give away for free. Like, it's a fucking thank you for surviving. Parang gano'n.
Yeah.
Parang, shit, nag-survive tayong lahat. Oh,
Yeah.
ito, something to congratulate you. Parang gano'n.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something I would do kasi bawal ang physical contact.
Yeah. Hanggang fist bumps lang or like elbow bump or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Lariat. Lariat ka na lang.
Clothesline pala.
Clothesline, Clothesline from
Clothesline
with
clothesline.
love. Clothesline with love.
Tumba ka, pero that's love, di ba?
Yeah, it's love, man. I guess, okay, now we're down to our last two questions since the 1 hour mark na tayo. Okay. What is one must-have item that you need to take to every convention? Parang mga iba, di ba, si Gio, I think he mastered, I guess it's not an item, but more of a technique. How, like yung kay Gio kasi, I guess the one thing he brings with him is yung, I guess yung ingress and egress niya na sobrang bilis, na within like 15 minutes tapos na siya.
Yeah.
What is that? What is a one must-have item or technique that you always take to a convention, Sir Toto Madayag?
An item. Meron akong hindi ako superstitious. Parati kong pinagkatawanan yung mga superstitious people. Pero meron akong blue wallet meron akong blue wallet. Basta yun, blue wallet na ano siya, pencil holder ata siya, pencil case siya. Pero cloth siya. Tapos, siguro since around 2016 nung nagsimula ako mag-convention, medyo kadiri siya pero hindi ko siya nilalo.
Okay lang yan.
Kaya naman namin ng alcohol every time. Pero at the same time, medyo superstitious ako about it kasi kapag hindi ko siya nadala, kailangan namin bumalik ng bahay. Kasi sinuswerte kami sa conventions in terms of earnings. Pag yun yung meron akong, hindi naman hindi siya scientifically sound. Pero drifting ako with that blue wallet na kailangan yun parati yung money bag ko para doon ako mahugot ng change. Doon ka nilalagay yung money for the convention from buyers, gano'n. Tapos pag sinilip mo yung loob nun, saka to nila Gio. Mapapatunayan to nila Gio. Naka-arrange siya, sobrang arrange siya. 1,500, 200,
Wow.
100s, 50s, 20s, gano'n. Kahit na sobrang busy na kayo na yun, naka-arrange pa rin siya.
Oh man, yun yung masaya nga talaga, yung mga like one like thing or it's such a interesting thing to learn kasi nga yung kay Gio nga talaga nagulat ako na nagagawa niya lahat in like 15 minutes kasi sabi niya nga taga South siya, 'di ba? So
yeah.
He has to take the MRT, mag-MRT siya papuntang Centris, tapos doon sa Centris, ang bilis niya, as in it's crazy. It's mind-blowing sometimes. I guess the last question that I want to ask, what is one piece of advice that you want to give for aspiring independent artists?
Kunwari, hindi mo pa binigay sa akin yung questions kanina. Naisip ko.
Hindi mo lang may dramatic music pa.
Alam ko meron ng privilege ng alam ko it's speaking from a place of privilege na grow ko yung following kasi nga relatable yung comics. Pero I always say na if you're going to start a webcomic social media, um, even if you think you have the super duper best ideas, parang ganon. Don't ever fall into a trap na you're waiting for likes, shares, for reactions na super immediate na darating. It's going to be a tough process pa rin when you're trying to build an audience. What I suggest is pick a um, a comic artist or probably any creative at all. Siguro pick a YouTuber or pick a podcaster to hindi naman to copy but to emulate, to study what they're doing on social media. Pick a pretty famous one, yung medyo marami ng followers, tapos mag-backtrack ka siguro kung anong ginagawa nila online for the past 2-3 years. Tingnan mo kung paano nila pinopromote yung stuff nila. Kasi, it's easy to fall into a trap na thinking na sobrang ganda ng idea mo na instantly magiging malaki yung following. Yun pa naman yung labanan ngayon, yung mental capacity mo to take rejection online na post ng art. I see a lot of younger artists actually sa mga Facebook groups, Twitter din, na medyo nagpo-frustrate kasi early on hindi sila nakakuha ganun ng likes or ng following sa mga pinagagawa nila, pero at the same time medyo maganda naman yung magandang artwork nila, ganun. Maganda yung idea nila, nakakatawa yung comics. But, I would say instead of waiting for the follows, the likes to pour in droves, I would say mas maganda kung plan ahead in parang yung mga usual na tinatanong kapag pag job interviews.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Parang gano'n. Mas maganda kung planuhin mo na siya in such a way na kung gagawa ka ng comic story, is it something that you'll pitch to not necessarily Netflix? Congrats to Tres, by the way, di ba?
Yeah. Congrats your budget and Kajo.
Yes. Pero maybe a local TV network or local streaming site, parang ganon. Do you see yourself like pitching that to executives in the next 5 years? And what steps are you going to take in the next 5 years to get to that point? Would be the same probably for a band, siguro. Do you see yourself independently, releasing an EP or an LP, or like, alam mo yun, pitching an idea or pitching your album, I guess, or your music to big recording companies. Plus, balance that with, is this journey going to be an enjoyable one for you? Yun na lang. This is like, magplano ka ng gagawin mo in 5 years, pero at the same time, it's something that you should still be enjoying. I guess to summarize it, parang have a goal in mind. At the same time, don't let that goal hinder you from enjoying what you do within those 5 years.
Nice. Salamat talaga, Sir Toto. All right, you can find Sir Toto Madayag on facebook.com/librengkomiks, twitter.com/librengkomiksph, Instagram.com/Libreng Komiks PH. Meron ba kayong isang Facebook? Is it okay to mention this?
Yes. Which one?
Okay. FB.com/Toto Madayag, which is a black and white photo. Wag yung family photo. Don't add that. That's none of our business. Yung black and white photo lang. For to see his Libreng Komiks. You could find his books on Shopee, Lazada. May ibang platform pa po ba, Sir Toto?
Well, yung Shopee and Lazada shop namin, the name is mabuti.shop.
I love it. You stick.
MABOOTY. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yun lang naman. Yun lang.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sir Toto Madayag. Is there anything you want to plug at the moment, or?
Well, wala naman. Go watch 13 sa Netflix mismo. Huwag kayo magpa-pirate.
Yes, don't pirate.
Yeah, it's a super big deal for Pinoy comics. Yeah, yun lang.
All right.
Wala pa naman ako upcoming book. So.
Nice. All right. Thank you, Sir Toto. Baka one day magkaroon na rin tayo ng mga web shorts ng Libreng Komiks, ng mga honghang flashbacks and whatnot. For all we know, one day, Netflix and maybe 13 will be the gateway to, give us, to make people realize how creative Filipinos truly are. Sorry, biglang nag-Independence Day tayo na, na bigla. Na parang, mga kagalingan ng Pinoy, mga ganun. Parang biglang magiging robot ako, di ba? Ganun. Hindi, pero seryoso. One of the reasons why we started this podcast is to promote independent artists and just local artists in general. Kasi nga, alam naman natin na we all have to compete with the Marvels and the DCs and the Images. I mean, it's so hard to get to that level. I think, sino na ba nakakaabot dun? Yung mga Stephen Segovia, Rian Gonzalez, Miguel Mercado. I think si Sawi recently is one of the few na new joinee in a way into that circle. And this podcast with the Geeky Juans, we want to really bring more attention to, I guess, the unsung art, the unseen, not unseen, pero parang, I don't know the right term, pero parang
more artists in general.
Yeah,
I think our goal is to just feature everyone from the community. So whether it be someone who has had years of experience or someone who's just starting, like anyone. Tapos that also ranges from aside from artists, content creators,
wrestlers,
eventually soon wrestlers. So like
speaking of Jude, there's this one person that we're trying to get.
Sige, Steven, I'll leave it to
salamat
you.
Kay Derv.
Because
okay. So we have this crazy idea.
Sorry.
Sir Toto, if you will indulge us lang for a few more seconds before we go.
Sure.
Ni-mention na isang friend namin, si Derv De Venecia of Wrestling After Work.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to Derv De Venecia. One of our most viewed articles sa website namin is a review of Sue Ramirez's Cuddle Weather from 2019? 2019 ba? 2020?
Yeah, 2019. It was
yes. Yung movie ni Sue Ramirez is one of our most viewed articles ever. So we're trying to start a movement called #SuanX the Geeky Juans para makuha namin si Sue Ramirez for an interview. Who knows? I mean, nakakuha kami ng creator ng isang Nickelodeon TV show, si Nicky Lopez from Santiago of the Seas. Sobrang random nun. Sobrang random, like, coincidence? Like, it just so happened na matagal ko nang fina-follow
It was really, let's just say, really great timing.
Really great timing. Na tinanong ko siya, like, hey, is it okay na baka we could feature you on our show? At the time naman, wala namang Santiago of the Seas Nick Jr. dito. So, pure chance it happened. Baka, who knows, maybe we can get Sue Ramirez one day on this podcast to talk about Cuddle Weather and, of course, her other projects. Let's just get this hashtag going. #SuanX the Geeky Juans. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go. Sobrang Sobrang inside joke now, sorry.
It's just really
Yun.
weird. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
our campaign.
Yeah, that's our campaign. Let's
Campaign.
get it going.
Yeah,
Hashtag Sue Annex to Geeky Ones.
manifest,
Thank you again to Sir Toto
manifest the
Madayag of
energy for it.
Libreng.
Yes, thank you
Let's
so
go.
much.
To Sir Toto
Yeah, for having
Madayag.
us this evening,
Comics.
talking about like comics and yeah, comics
Alright.
conventions and everything else. It was so good.
The people we meet along the way. You could visit us at thegeekyjuans.com. You could follow us at The Geeky Juans on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. The podcast is available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other platforms. Again, you can find on social media. Just look for him at Libreng Komiks or librengkomiks.ph. Libreng Komiks PH, walang dot. That's comics with a K. That is it. So for episode 79 of the Geeky Ones, thank you so much, Sir Toto Madayag. Thank you, Jude. I'm Steven. That's it. Bye-bye.